one guy that he's talking to.
Well, I think you have to address each individual story, each individual scenario in the context that you find it in Scripture. I mean, if he's dealing with an individual and maybe using that as a point, a part to make a point to other people, or he's using it in a parable, or he's using it metaphorically, or is he using it didactically for other lessons? Is he using it specifically for that individual? I can't make a categorical statement concerning everything that Jesus does is always this way. I don't think that that's an appropriate way to interpret the Bible.
Okay, well, you're kind of a different Christian. You do like to go dancing around the questions. Theo, I gotta tell you, we go around and around and around. We go around and around and around with credos all the time. So don't go, don't go off on we're picking on him and stuff like this. So, all right.
No, I don't think that. I don't think you guys are picking on him. I think you guys are actually everybody in here is being really civil, and this is a cool conversation. I don't think that was dancing though. That seemed like a very straightforward answer. The answer is. Jesus is not always speaking to an individual, and he's not always speaking to the whole world. You have to take it according to its context. I mean, I think we hear context so much from Christians, context, in such a bullshit fashion that we immediately bristle when we hear the word context. But there are situations in which, context is a valid thing, and I think this is definitely one of them. That didn't seem like dancing to me.
Okay, well, it does to some of us that deal with credos on a daily basis. All right, Dog, what you got?
All right, some seem to be straying away from what I'm trying to get at. If it's okay to interpret parts of the Bible to suit your understanding, why not, or what if we were to completely, every aspect in the Bible, reinterpret it to the extreme? Even though we read it from the Bible, are you still a Christian, or are you something else?
I mean, I don't understand the question. It's almost like you're saying this is a slippery slope. If you could interpret it a little bit different, then why can't people interpret it way different and believe whatever they want? I mean, is that the kind of road you're traveling down, that if you allow for any interpretation, then you have to allow for all interpretation?
I'm saying that if it's okay for you...
Doc, let Dog finish and then you go.
I'm saying that if it's okay for you to interpret one part, any part that you fit or feel that fits your needs, why not just reinterpret the whole entire Bible and come up with a whole new denomination? Because if you change one aspect of the Bible, you can't call yourself a Christian, because by saying that, you're saying that God was wrong, I'm right, and this is how he really meant it. Therefore, you're not a Christian, because a Christian is somebody who follows the Bible, not makes up their own stuff.
I mean, you keep... Sorry, go ahead.
What I wanted to say was, I sort of agree with Smoke Dog, and the second you started, I mean, I actually, as it's a... But I sort of think that once you started interpreting, you can't honestly state that other people should believe you. You are interpreting it in a way when you have no reason to interpret it your way as opposed to another way. You are merely interpreting. I think that sort of defies a real, genuine following of the Bible. And the second you've started fiddling with what it means, you are essentially fiddling with the Bible. Anyone can do that. However, I do think it's fair to say that, he's not fiddling with his interpretation. He's just saying that as far as he's concerned, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and you could totally reinterpret it, but his point is still valid. I ended up rambling. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of the times you cut out, and it was hard for me to put your entire message in.
He's agreeing with you. Reflectionist, yeah, that definition is a little basic. It's more like for Christians, Jesus is the Messiah, a.k.a. the Son of God, the deliverer of sin, okay? The deliverer of sin, I should say.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Drobs. I just missed some stuff there for a minute.
Well, it isn't like we have any alternative. Don't we all have to interpret? It's not like we can just automatically, directly beam the knowledge right into our brain. It has to go through our interpretation filters somehow. So we don't have an alternative to interpreting it.
Exactly. And your interpretation filters of the Bible are going to be a little different than ours. Theo.
This may be off topic by now, but I just went and I read the whole chapter that we've been talking about, and I'm wondering what part exactly you guys are thinking, or what you take issue with specifically, because here's a play-by-play of what goes on here in my view. I mean, if I were to try to take in context, like, you know, the culture of the time and try to put it into like a modernized scenario, this is what it would look like. Some guy goes, Jesus, I did everything I could. I pray. I go to da 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 da. What am I not doing? Jesus says, sell all your shit. The guy goes, I'm rich. I got a lot of shit to sell. I can't sell all my shit. And Jesus goes, no, sell all your shit. And guy goes, damn it. Fine. And it says here that the guy was really, really sad. He was really bummed about having to do that. And Jesus turns to his disciples and goes, look, it's hard. Look at this guy. I mean, it's hard, but don't think that what this guy is doing by selling all his shit is easy. It's easier for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to go through whatever.
It's easier for a camel to go through a needle versus a rich man to go to heaven.
Right, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. So, I mean, it's gonna be tough, guys, and this is this guy's challenge.
The next line says that it is impossible. What is impossible for man, okay, suggesting that it is impossible, that it's not able to happen. Okay, the next line says that which is impossible for man is not impossible for God. So, if you accept God fully, okay, then this can be done. And the only way that you can accept God fully and to understand this is to see that in another passage of the Bible where it says to give your shit away. Now, where was that, dog? Where were we referring to? Hold on.
Mark 19. Real quick. I mean, you just said it's I mean, I'm reading this here, and the disciples witnessed this whole interaction. They said, well, who's going to get saved? And Jesus said, well, if for men it's impossible, but with God all things are possible. Not for God all things are possible, with God. Meaning, if you have faith, you'll be able to accomplish these hard, difficult things. For example, giving up all your money.
Not if you have not if you have just faith, but you adhere to what God is telling you throughout the whole Bible, not just through here, but throughout the whole Bible. Now, dog, where was that passage that we were linking this to? Matthew 19.
Yeah, Matthew 19.
Okay, refer back to Matthew 19.
What I was talking about is, okay, Anu had the problem with me talking about the extreme reinterpretations. When I read the Bible and I try to minimally reinterpret it or interpret it, I come to the conclusion that he's literal. He, Anu, is saying that God wasn't being literal, or Jesus wasn't being literal, that he wasn't really saying that you don't have to sell everything you own. And nowhere in that passage is Anu's opinion backed up. However, everywhere in that passage, my opinion is backed up. And I don't understand why, when he considers it a light interpretation, with an extreme interpretation.
Actually,
there was another connection that I forgot what the other passage was in the Bible. I forgot what it is. But there is another connection here, okay, that with God, okay, with God, and all things are possible, that you not only have to accept God into your life, but you have to know what God is talking about. So reading the Bible and understanding all the different connections. These passages have another connection, and I was using it earlier, and I forgot what the fuck it was. I apologize.
I wanna ask Smoke Dog. You say that your interpretation that it's literal is completely backed up. If I were to have an argument with somebody and I were to say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hold your horses, mister," and then that were recorded, and then 100 years later somebody read it, and one person said, now he's obviously telling the other gentleman to hold his horses. There's obviously, there's